I sent you this tweet from Bill Barnwell yesterday, which he's an NFL voter. He has a legitimate award. He's not necessarily old school. He does believe in analytics. And he released his
He's a good writer.
Yeah, very good writer. Very respected in the NFL community. And he released his column on his end-of-season awards. And on his Defensive Player of the Year award column, he wrote and voted for Myles Garrett third, behind T.J. Watt, Splinter, and then Micah Parsons. We'll retweet this, but I'll give you the snippets of what he said in his column as to why he thinks Garrett will end up winning, but on his ballot, he was third. He said his production in the second half of the season cratered after the injury. In the last 6 games, he had 1 sack, 7 knockdowns, no forced fumbles. He talked about there being more production than just stats. However, he goes into the advanced analytics, and since Week 12, his pass rush win rate was third, behind the 2 guys ahead of him in Parsons and Watt. And he essentially said it's just hard for him to vote for the best defensive player in football to win the award when he had 1 sack in the last 6 games, while other players did more. Myles is still the heavy favorite on FanDuel. Steve, you can take the odds here. He's minus 250. Significantly better chances than Micah Parsons in second or T.J. Watt here in third. But after seeing Barnwell's article, are you guys a little concerned that Myles is going to get snubbed here of the award, knowing that it may come down to players or voters, just simply looking at that sack number, not taking the full thing into
I don't think that's fair to say. I mean, Barnwell was pointing to a lot more things than just the sack number.
No, I know. I'm not saying him, but I mean in the big picture of other voters. I was using Barnwell as an example.
I mean, I think the question, Mike, is are you concerned that he lost the award by diminished production over the last third of the season?
I personally,
because that gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, I don't. To me, I mean, like I understand why Myles Garrett cares or his teammates. I don't really care if guys win awards or not in the end. I don't think it.
But we do know it's big to Myles.
Fans care, and he certainly cares.
Yeah.
I think, after reading the thing from Bill Barnwell, I actually said, he made a very strong case for Micah Parsons more than T.J. Watt.
I agree.
Because one of the things there that I didn't realize is, I know that Myles Garrett gets double-teamed way more than T.J. Watt, but I didn't realize Micah Parsons this year has gotten double-teamed even more than Myles Garrett.
Which is a change.
Yes, because Myles Garrett's always been the most double-teamed guy, and and part of it's probably because the Browns' defense has been better, and Myles Garrett hasn't. There was a stretch. I think now he's playing up to what he was, but there was a 3-game stretch where he wasn't.
I'm not
quite
even
the same
sure
guy.
he's back to what
Maybe
he
not
was.
100%,
Yeah.
but he's much closer now than he was like the first 3 games.
Does it matter to you that the last third of the season his production was way down?
It does. It's got to be factored in. I mean, listen, if Micah Parsons or T.J. Watt, as much as we can't stand the Steelers, if one of those guys wins, how am I going to be outraged about it? I think Myles Garrett's got as good a case as anybody, but I think from Barnwell's article, I thought Micah Parsons, especially of the other 2, has a very strong case as well.
Yeah, I read some advanced analytics on Micah Parsons, too, that I wasn't aware of. I probably see the Cowboys play 5 full games a year because they're always on prime time.
Yeah, right, sure.
And they're usually in an exclusive window, so I'm looking at them. His impact on the game, we said this about him last year. We're like, man, the guy is everywhere, and he's versatile, which I really like. Right. I think Myles is versatile too, but I think Micah might be a little bit more versatile. For me, I'm with you. I won't be screaming, yelling, and stomping my feet if it doesn't go to Myles Garrett. However, all that being said, Myles Garrett is the Defensive Player of the Year. And I'll go to Ben Baby, the ESPN writer from the Bengals that we had on last week, when he talked about that combo stat that ESPN has created to sort of measure all the things that a defensive end does. And it is more than sacks. And that's why don't get blinded by the sack number and that Myles Garrett is down the list now. Don't get blinded by that. That position has a bigger impact than just tackling quarterbacks behind the line of scrimmage. How much does he help his other teammates get home? And when you bundle it all up, Ben Baby said the metrics are stunning. It's Myles Garrett and then a huge drop-off, and then Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, and others. So for me, Myles gets my vote, but I can see how someone else might think it belongs to another player.
This is stunning to me, and I'm not going to say that people are intentionally doing this, but let's be clear about the way things work in this echo chamber we call America. We've been told forever that the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. There's a reason they're on TV every freaking week.
They do ratings.
There's a reason why Pittsburgh terrible towels wave all around the country.
Yeah.
Trust me, when you look at that and when you look at teams who are perennially there, when you talk about a national football approach, the Browns are never on TV. They play the 1 o'clock game.
We do have a good national following, though.
They got a good national following amongst our backers. However, when it comes to national guys drilling down on the minutia of play in, play out, down in, down out, the impact of certain players, to be frank, they're not paying attention to the Cleveland Browns.
PFF loves Myles more than they love anybody.
There's my next transition. So when you're only gazing over it and looking at it, you have this natural thing in your stomach to be like, well, it's the 49ers. They've been great. It's the Cowboys. They've been great. Hey, Steelers are always great on defense. The problem is when you look at the advanced metrics, it's not even close. Myles Garrett is winning in all the advanced metrics. I mean, this guy was...
Well, not all of them, because he pointed out some that...
There's a couple of them. There's a couple of them that you could get other guys. But when you say the average time it takes for him to get to the quarterback, it is 1 point. Although 1 second, 1.2 seconds.
Well, Micah Parsons had a quicker time.
Yeah, which is stunning.
And then here's the thing. You take a look at that, and then you take a look at the eye test. Then you take a look at, you go around and ask all of the offensive coordinators. Myles Garrett dictates what you do. He dictates.
But doesn't Micah Parsons do that
not
also?
Not to the level of Myles Garrett. See, there's my problem. When Myles Garrett has all the sacks and he gets double teamed last year, how many did he have last year? 16?
Yeah, I think.
Well, but he didn't lead the league.
Last year he gets double teamed the most. He has 16 sacks. Then we say, oh, well, that doesn't really mean much. But now all of a sudden, when Micah Parsons is getting double teamed more, now they want to point to it.
How many sacks does Parsons have?
Micah Parsons actually has fewer sacks.
I know.
Is
13. It 12? Oh, 13.
T.J. Watt has the most. Watt ended with 19. Hendrickson and Allen had 17.5. Khalil Mack 17.
And we go over the.
I lied. Micah Parsons had 14. He ended up the same as.
Oh,
I
did.
Just think, I feel like it's unfair to like there's a conspiracy theory against the Browns.
It's not a conspiracy
I don't think
theory.
that's fair. I don't think. Listen, I don't know Bill Barnwell personally. I've read his stuff. Maybe you know him personally.
I
Jay.
do, and he's good. He's very good.
He
But I don't
doesn't
agree with
strike
everything
me as
he
like
says.
a biased guy.
No.
Or he's got some agenda to root for a big market team.
No,
or
but here's the point. It's just
I thought it was interesting he voted him third. See, that can really ding Myles.
So
if he gets too many third place votes.
That's my part.
I don't think
that's my part. You cannot.
No, I think it is on a point basis. First place, second place, third place.
No disrespect to him.
Yeah.
And he writes, I done put my hand in the dirt before. I know what a good defensive end look like. It's asinine to say that Myles Garrett is third in any vote. He's the best defensive player on the best team all year with no quarterbacks. I don't understand how the defense can carry a team with 5 different quarterbacks to the playoffs.
But you're getting mad proactively. Like, we don't even know he's going to – if he wins, you got mad for nothing.
I'm just saying his opinion is that's like me arbitrarily saying, oh, my goodness, you know what? I'm going to put Lamar Jackson is probably the MVP, right? That's like me telling Matt Stafford he the MVP. No, he ain't.
Wait a second. You're complaining about groupthink, and now you're saying everybody has to think like you, that Lamar Jackson should be the MVP?
No, my prevailing thing is if somebody on their list puts Lamar Jackson third, they're crazy.
But listen, I think in the end he made a reasoned argument. It wasn't like you're saying he was just randomly. He made a reasoned argument for it.
So you could make a reason.
If you read what he wrote, I'm not saying I necessarily agree, but I don't think he's crazy for voting him third.
And in most years, for most of these superlatives,
yeah,
you can make a case 3 or 4 deep. It's very rare that in any season it's a unanimous MVP.
Exactly. There's debate
or a unanimous. I mean, you can always make an argument for that number 2 guy or that number 3 guy.
Listen,
it's subjective.
Right, and I don't know what he's watching. You want to talk about the eye test. Like, we're watching Myles Garrett every week. We know how great he is, right? But we're not watching I'm not going to speak for you guys. I'm not watching Micah Parsons every week. I'm not watching T.J. Watt every week. Yeah. I don't have as good a feel. I know they're great players. I don't have as good a feel for those guys.
You know what, Bull, that's a good point. And, G, this will support your argument. A lot of these Heisman Trophy is probably the biggest
worst.
one.
Yeah.
Here's why.
Yeah.
They're asking all these beat writers that are watching one game every Saturday, the game that they're covering.
Right.
So I think what a lot of these writers have, and I'm not demeaning them for it. What they're reduced to doing is looking up stats,
numbers.
And when you watch Myles Garrett, I don't think the stats tell the full story on Myles. I just don't.
But let's be fair. We're a little biased.
We are. But what I'm saying is the narrative of looking at numbers and comparing them as if they're apples to apples, you can't do that because some defenses ask players to do different different things.
Listen, we don't know. Maybe Bill Barnwell's watched every game of all three of these guys. I don't know. I have no idea. In the end, with most votes, it's going to be based on statistics.
Right.
And he sounds like he's taking a look at more than just one stat.
Yes.
In the end, I disagree with him. But I will admit I'm a little biased. Maybe that's affecting my decision.
I just don't.
I am too.
I've always had a problem of people that sit in a booth, getting to dictate somebody's career. I just don't like it. It's like you give this guy the power to write who he likes, and then you give him a criteria. He could just pick.
But it's not as if it's one person. It's a collective.
It's a collective.
And you would hope that more often than not they get it right, and I think they do.
You're basically accusing a lot of these guys of not taking this seriously, and I think most of them do.
No.
I think most of them do.
The baseball guys do not take it seriously.
What do you mean?
They go into those votes knowing who they're going to vote for and not vote for. Barry Bonds, not voting for him.
Are you talking about Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Well,
T.O., the fact that somebody
that's
said,
about steroids. That's a debate.
Okay.
I would vote for steroid guys. That's a different subject, though.
When you tell me Terrell Owens is not a first ballot Hall of Famer based on the way you don't like he do interviews, that is BS.
Has he gotten in yet?
He got in, but he wisely said, I'm not going.
When did he get in?
A couple years ago.
Does it really matter?
Yes, it does.
You know what it
Yes,
does,
it does.
Bill? Because
It does.
when you're a Hall of Famer,
It does.
You're a corporation. And here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
You can set your annual income. Once you're a Hall of Famer,
right.
You can say, I'm going to do a card signing and an appearance every month, and you can set your own income.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge market for that. And to be able to say that you're a first ballot Hall of Famer takes it to another level. It puts you in another corporation's.
I guess my bottom line is I don't like. Listen, there's bad members of the media just like there's bad everything else, right?
Right.
I'm sure there are probably plenty of voters or some voters that let personality and all that stuff get in the way. All right, there's
That's
guys
for sure.
And you shouldn't do that. I agree. But players would do the same thing.
Hell, look how they made Jim Rice wait it out.
Right.
The media hated Jim Rice, and Jim Rice hated the media.
Don't you think players would do a lot of the same stuff?
But here's the thing.
I like this guy.
Yeah, probably both.
If we want to, you just said it's about based on statistics.
Yeah.
So how is it statistically? Terrell Owens is the second greatest receiver of all time.
I hear you. He should have gotten in his first year.
Well, Bull,
it wasn't like they made him wait 10 years.
It's confirmation bias. And
Right.
I think what happens is, you remember the stunts that T.O. pulled?
Yeah.
The football on the star, the
Yeah.
jumping in the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember this. We carried it live. We were hosting a midday show at ESPN. During a news conference, this man was working out in his driveway, doing crunches and making reporters get down on their knees. And listen, the reporter, they're a petty bunch. They're human. They've got feelings. And I remember at the time, every media member that was on our panel at the time when we were discussing that, we came out from it to say, okay, what are your thoughts? We had 3 or 4 media members on the panel at the time, and they roasted him. And that was the general consensus on T.O. What a jerk.
Yeah.
And they made him pay for it. And T.O., I love what he did. He said, you know what? I'm good. His college, Tennessee Chattanooga, put him in their Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I believe they made the induction ceremony either the same day or the same weekend of the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction. And he said, peace out. I'm not going to that one. You don't deserve me. If you didn't want me, you don't deserve me.
I don't think we want to get down a rabbit hole on T.O. for too long.
I think his point is there are grudges in the media. But hopefully, because there are so many voters, that the bias gets washed out and the best people rise to the top.
And I think most of the voters want to get it right. When you do something, don't you want to get it right?
I would. Yeah, I would.
That's how I feel.
And I'll be honest.
Maybe I'm being too
I don't know any voters, Bull, and you know voters.
Yeah.
I don't know any voters that personally don't look at that as a huge responsibility because to a certain extent, I don't agree with you that it's forging these careers, but to a certain extent, it is writing a sub-narrative of that player's career.
And many of the writers I know that have votes in New York and here take it very seriously. I'm not saying all of them,
right?
But all the ones I know do.
I said this: the guy that didn't vote Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera as a first ballot Hall of Famer, I would retract his vote. I want his vote. I don't want him voting anymore.
But those obviously Well, didn't one of them become the first? I thought somebody became the first unanimous person.
I think it was Rivera.
No, I got to look that up. I think
it was Rivera.
Ridiculous.
By the way,
I think there was a previous unanimous selection.
Okay.
But there hadn't been one in a while, and I can't
some
remember
of these
if
old
it was
writers
Rivera or Jeter. I'm like, wait a minute. Like
some of these old writers,
you don't deserve a vote.
Nobody goes.
Mariano was unanimous.
Yeah.
Okay, then Jeter. Somebody left Derek Jeter.
I think Jeter didn't get one
off their Hall of Fame ballot, and I'm sorry, your vote's gone.
By the way, speaking of Hall of Fame, congratulations to Tim Couch, who got into the college football.
Yes,
well
shout out
done.
Tim Couch. Shout out Tim Couch.
Our co-host here on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
We're gonna move on, guys. I'm gonna say something. Save your reaction for overtime. This is teasing to overtime.